My favorite kind of drama, Twitter drama. Evan Fournier called out Davis Bertans, saying, "If you think it's okay to sit and watch your teammates play while you're perfectly healthy, it says a lot about you." Bertans fired back, "Next time tag me with your opinion about me." Nice. I love that Fournier has the courage to speak up, and I agree with him. If you are healthy and you don't want to play because of a contract coming up, that is total bullshit. Now, I get people like Avery Bradley, whose kid has a health condition, but if it's only about money, that is not an excuse. Bertans is a free agent this offseason and doesn't want to get injured, but this is his job. Now, he's not going to be paid for sitting out, but now his team has no chance. That sucks. Imagine if every free agent did this. The playoffs would be a mess. Luckily, they aren't pulling a Bertans and bailing on their team. In this video, we're going to go through the biggest free agents who are playing and saying if they should have pulled a Bertans because the Orlando bubble will help or hurt their bank account. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops, brought to you by our Patreon supporters, including Will Tonneson McGrath, who gets a shout out because he is a member of our Patreon squad. Hit subscribe and hit notification bells. It really helps out the channel. We're looking ahead here to the bubble games and the playoffs, and we're looking at free agents who the Orlando bubble could help or hurt. That means I'm not going to talk about Brandon Ingram, he's set for a fat contract either way, or Gordon Hayward or DeMar DeRozan. They're pretty much guaranteed to pick up their option. The Orlando bubble will have 8 seeding games, of course, before the playoffs, and if a guy has some huge run, it'll be like March Madness. Shabazz Napier was a first-round pick after he dominated in the tournament. Dante DiVincenzo wasn't even in the top 30 prospects pre-draft. He scored 31 points off the bench in the title game, drafted 17th overall. Now, is it stupid to judge a guy off a short sample size like this? Of course it is, but that's never stopped NBA teams in the past. So the first guy we're gonna look at is Fred VanVleet of the Raptors, and playing in the bubble can only hurt his free agency. Fred VanVleet is amazing at what he does. He is the starting 2 guard for a title winner and contender this year. ESPN predicted he would get 25 to 30 million per year on his next deal. Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving make about that this year. If VanVleet didn't play another game, he'd be set for free agency. The last images we have are of him winning a ton of regular season games. Our last playoff image, him making big shots in the playoffs and finals. In reality, he is a 6-foot guard who does the dirty work for his team, not an elite level starter. Again, I am really glad that guys like this are not pulling a Davis Bertans, but Fred VanVleet better ball out or it will cost him money. Next up, Montrezl Harrell of the Clippers will only be helped by the Orlando bubble. While the Raptors have the second toughest schedule in the bubble, Fred VanVleet has to deal with that, the Clippers have the 13th toughest. They should cruise to the 2 seed, which is where they are now, and Trez will be featured the whole way. Like all year, he's got a critical role off the bench and as a closer on a contender. Harrell is an elite scorer out of the pick and roll on offense, and on defense, he has drawn the most charges in the NBA. If this team lives up to its potential, Montrezl Harrell will be featured all the way to a title run. Now, one concern about Trez is his size, but if he can prove himself in the playoffs against bigger guys in the post, he'll get a raise from his projected 12 to 18 million bucks per year. Next up, Derrick Jones Jr. of the Heat. He will be helped by the Orlando bubble for all the wrong reasons too. Derrick Jones Jr. is one of my most fun players to watch in the league. You might know him from the dunk contest, but he puts on a show every night with the Heat. I would normally say he's got nothing left to prove, and he might benefit from sitting out like Davis Bertans, but this is actually a really sad case. Derrick Jones Jr. is one of the players who has recently tested positive for coronavirus. Before, he said he was willing to take the risk and go into the bubble. Now he might have to. The fact is, we don't know what the long-term effects will be of the coronavirus. It affects the respiratory system. Does that somehow mean in the long term some athleticism will be taken away? Derrick Jones Jr.'s game relies so heavily on athleticism. Fair or not, I think he now has to go out there to prove he's still got it so he can earn what's coming to him, which is a big payday. Next up, Danilo Gallinari of the Oklahoma City Thunder would be hurt by the Orlando bubble. Gallo has been such a good player for the Thunder this season. He deserves a ton of credit for why OKC has overachieved in a lot of people's minds. He's also coming off a really great year with the Clippers, so I don't know what else this guy has to prove, really. Several teams are lining up to pay Gallinari, reportedly. The Heat were interested this season. The Knicks have cap space and interest for the guy that they drafted in 08. OKC might want him back. But I think the added intensity of a playoff push will make teams defend Gallo that much better, and there are some pretty good wing defenders in the West. Right now he is shooting 41% from three, taking 7.3 from downtown per game. That is better than Bradley Beal, Luka Doncic, JJ Redick this year. He's projected to get the max. That can only go down, especially against playoff-type defense. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will be helped big time. This is a guy that actually benefits from a teammate deciding to sit out. He'll have a huge opportunity to step up with Avery Bradley out. Remember when KCP was like everyone's favorite player to pick on earlier this year? He was holding the Lakers back. He quietly turned that around so much. This is his best season ever. KCP goes into Orlando with a career-high field goal and three-point percentage. He's got an established role on a contender, and he can display that even more with Avery Bradley out. Yes, the Lakers signed J.R. Smith, but really, the dude hasn't played in like 2 years. I don't think he'll play very much at all. I expect the bulk of Avery Bradley's minutes to go to Alex Caruso and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and I expect KCP to start and play really well, so he will opt out of his contract with the Lakers and cash in big time with some other team in the offseason. He has played so well under pressure. In the fourth quarter, all of his numbers go up. He shoots 50.4% and 44.1% from downtown. He's even better in crunch time. He shoots 44% from downtown when the game is within 5 points. KCP is gonna earn a lot of cash in Orlando. Next up, another shooter, Bogdan Bogdanovic. The Orlando bubble will help him. Bogdanovic is a restricted free agent, so the Kings can match any salary that comes his way to keep him if they want. And they do want to. They totally messed up not extending him before the season, and Bogdanovic has been one of the best three-point shooters this year. The Kings reportedly are making it a priority to re-sign him in the offseason, so this dude already has money in the bank. It can only go up. If he goes off in Orlando, a team would be crazy not to throw a huge contract at him. A team with cap space like the Knicks or the Hawks would have to then outbid the Kings to get him, and a big performance would be convincing. If he's just average, no biggie. The Kings have a fat contract waiting. The 8 games can only help. Hassan Whiteside will be hurt big time by the Orlando bubble. The Trailblazers brought Whiteside in for this season because Jusuf Nurkic was out with injury. Well, guess what? He's back. In the meantime, Whiteside's played better than expected despite the Blazers still needing to fight into the playoffs. He's put up impressive stats as usual, averaged over 16 points per game on about 62% shooting with about 14 boards and 3 blocks per game. But if Nurkic plays anything like himself, it would be disastrous for Whiteside. Nurk is the better player. Whiteside might have better box score stats, but the advanced stats all show Nurkic plays to win. Whiteside plays for stats, so he'll go out and chase blocks to the point that he leaves the paint vulnerable, while Nurkic has a high IQ on defense and plays well in Terry Stotts' defensive system. On offense, Nurk is a better facilitator and passing big man. The Blazers' offense can run through him. Whiteside is more one-dimensional. Even if the Blazers play both on the court at the same time, all those differences will really be on display. Our last guy has been really impressive this year, Jordan Clarkson. The bubble can only help. This is another example of a player benefiting from a teammate sitting out. Bogdan Bogdanovic needed wrist surgery, so 20 points per game has to be made up, and Jordan Clarkson is a big candidate to help out because he was so great after the trade from Cleveland to Utah this year. No one expected a whole lot from Jordan Clarkson, but the Jazz went from the second worst scoring bench at 26.9 points per game all the way to 36.3. They also had one of the highest offensive ratings while Clarkson was on the court. Defense has always been sort of his weaker side of the ball, but that will only be better because the Jazz take it seriously. Again, I understand Davis Bertans wanting to sit out to protect his future, but why would I excuse him when all these guys we just mentioned are going for it? It will be a lot of fun to see them play and see them play really hard with a lot on the line financially. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.